A dispatch rider is a military messenger mounted on horse or motorcycle. In the UK, dispatch rider is also the most common term used for a motorcycle courier. Dispatch riders were used by armed forces to deliver urgent orders and messages between headquarters and military units. They had a vital role at a time when telecommunications were limited and insecure. They were also used to deliver carrier pigeons. World War I, United Kingdom. In the British Army, motorcycle dispatch riders were first used in the World War I by the Royal Engineers Signal Service, when the War Department called for motorcyclists to volunteer with the machines for dispatch work at the start of August 1914. The response was huge. The London office had 2,000 more applicants than places, and a similar response was reported in regional centres around the country. If a rider and machine were approved, then £10 was paid immediately, £5 to be paid on discharge, and pay was 35s per week. The motorcycle would be taken over at valuation price, or will be replaced with a new one at the close of operations. Enlistment was for 1 year or as long as the war might last. The preference was for 500cc single-cylinder machines and the horizontally opposed twin-cylinder. All machines had to have a change-speed gear. The following list of spares was also required to be carried: 1 valve complete with spring, washer and cotter, 1 sparking plug, 1 piston ring, a tire repair outfit including spares for valve, a spare tube, a spare belt and fastener, spare link and a spare chain if chain-driven, complete set of spares for the magneto, selection of nuts and washers, 2 valve cap washers, complete set of tools, 2 gaiters for tire repairs, a spare cover to be carried by signal units for each machine. Recruitment was not just for the Army. The Admiralty in Chatham bought 50 Triumphs in 1914 for dispatch rider duties, and many unsuccessful applicants were accepted by Scotland Yard on different terms to patrol country districts and distribute royal proclamations. These bikes carried a plate on the front with the lettering O.H.M.S. As the war progressed, the wide variety of volunteered machinery presented maintenance and spares problems, and so were progressively replaced by a limited range of military models, and in specific regions of the world or parts of the service only one of these models might be found. For example, the RAF exclusively used P&M motorcycles by the later stages of the war. Other nations. In August 1914 it was reported that the dispatch riders for the Belgian and Russian armies were equipped exclusively with FN motorcycles. However, 1 month later the Belgian government ordered 53 horsepower Enfield motorcycles for dispatch riders. At this time the French army were still mobilizing, but it was reported they had a squad of Triumphs as well as a variety of French makes. Douglas supplied 100 machines to the Italian government for dispatch purposes in 1916, and by this time the French dispatch riders were also using BSAs and Triumphs. The U.S. Army entered the war in 1917, and the messengers were equipped principally with Indian and Harley-Davidson motorcycles. In a September 1914 account it is stated that the French dispatch riders, like the British, are equipped with a revolver, whereas their German counterparts are equipped with Mausers. World War II. During World War II, dispatch riders were often referred to as donners in Commonwealth forces. In World War II, Royal Corps of Signals soldiers carried out the role, and the Royal Signals motorcycle display team was formed from the number. They were also used by the Royal Air Force and the Royal Navy. where they maintained contact with land bases, and some of the riders were members of the Women's Royal Naval Service. In the UK, Bletchley Park used to receive transmissions from the listening stations by dispatch riders, although later this was switched to teleprinter transmission. The British military often used Triumph, Norton, BSA, Matchless and Ariel for dispatch riders, and although radio communications were much more advanced during WW2 than WWI, huge numbers were produced. Notable riders: Charles Kingsford Smith, aviator; Charles Simmons, neurologist. Memoirs of Riders. W.H.L. Watson, Adventures of a Motorcycle Dispatch Rider During the First World War. ISBN 978-184685-046-2. Raymond Mitchell, Commando Dispatch Rider. ISBN 0850527997-X.